Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.
Hello, I'm Lori Steiner. Welcome to the 800th show of Golden Opportunities.
Today, managing multiple medications can be a prescription for problems. We'll offer help that's easy to swallow. Then, would a stock market crash cripple your cash flow? We'll give your investments a stress test. How's your health? Insurance. We'll check in for a checkup. Plus, a special visit from a very special person, County Executive and former Golden Opportunities host, Armond Budish. And it takes special long-term planning to care for special needs children. We'll offer advice.
It's time to get GOing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. We're on location at Metro Health Studio to talk about how we often need to manage multiple medications as we mature. And that can be a prescription for problems. Dr. Matt Franz is here with important information on how our pills can affect us as we age. Dr. Franz is in family medicine with Metro Health. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Now you're calling this polypharmacy.
Polypharmacy is the term.
What does that mean?
Polypharmacy is the taking of 5 or more prescription or non-prescription medications. About 50% of the people over age 65 take 5 or more prescription and or non-prescription medications daily. Up to 15% of these people take 10 prescription medications or combinations daily. So that's what we mean by polypharmacy. Polypharmacy is problematic because it costs about $82 billion a year in healthcare costs. And along with that is probably the 5th leading cause of illness in the United States, according to some studies.
Wow. So is the main concern medication interaction?
Well, a couple different things. The main concern that we have is the multiple medications and how they interact with each other. At this day and age, people don't have medical homes as much as they used to. Everybody had a family doctor and a family pharmacist, and you would go to the same people and everybody knew what you were taking. Now you go to the cardiologist and you get some drug from the cardiologist, and you go to the endocrinologist or the nephrologist, you get a different drug from them, and nobody's really watching the combination of medications that you're getting. Along with that, we have problems with what we call the medication cascade. You go in and you get one prescription drug, and a typical example is a high blood pressure medication called Prinavil. And the Prinavil can cause cough. It's one of the common side effects. Well, if somebody doesn't know that and you go to an urgent care center and you have a cough and they don't know what medications you're taking, all of a sudden you're getting medications for cough. Well, if you're on other medications like Coumadin, that increases your bleeding time, and then all of a sudden you end up in the hospital bleeding from something. So.
Oh man, yeah, I can see where that'd be a big problem. Also playing into all of this, I think, is we change the way we process medications as we age, correct?
Certainly. As we get older, our metabolism changes, our absorption of medication changes. We don't absorb medications the same way we did when we were younger. There's a thing called a first pass effect. When you take a medication, it goes through the liver first. And as we get older, the liver generally doesn't function as well as it did when we were younger. And so those medications maybe have a higher concentration in your bloodstream. Also with that is the way we eliminate medications. It goes through the kidney. Maybe the kidney functions off a little bit. The metabolism's off a little bit. A lot of these drugs are also what we call protein bound, which means as the medication gets into the bloodstream, it hooks up to a protein molecule. Well, we get older, our protein levels are a little bit less, and so there's more free medication in the system, and so it's an elevated amount of medication.
Okay, so what should we be doing to better manage our medications?
Well, first and foremost, and this is what most people don't do, is a list. You need a list of your medications, and it's surprising how many people know exactly what their percentage of interest is in the bank and mark all these things down, but they have no idea what medications they're taking. They come in, they tell me, I'm taking a blue pill for something, and so a list is good. And the list should include which physician gave it to you, why you're taking the medication, and the amount of medication that you're taking. That's first. And then know that and include supplements. People don't realize that supplements are medications, and they take these supplements. There's a friend of mine told me once that in the absence of information, marketing wins. And so when you read something in a magazine and it says, you know, this medication is going to do all these wonderful things, and you know, we have people that buy this and they take it every day, they never tell their physician. Okay. And those compete for binding sites and all those other things. So you want to include supplements, and also make sure you're taking medications for the appropriate reasons. Sometimes you don't need to take the medications anymore. Every year you should get evaluated by your physician, look at the medication list, and decide, do you need that medication going forward? And then there's a thing called deprescribing. And that's when we start to slow down the amount of medications we give to people.
So like wean off of it?
Wean off of it. And we can wean off of certain medications as you get older because you really don't need them. And your physician should be able to help guide you through that. Also, there are a couple criteria, one called the Beers criteria and one called the Stark criteria. The physicians know how to use those to manage elderly patients.
All right, this is great information for us. Medications can make miraculous improvements in your health, but when you're managing multiple medications, extra precaution is needed. So you may need to make some changes, and change is healthy. Follow Dr. Franz's advice and make a list of everything you are taking and share it with every doctor you see. My thanks to Dr. Franz for joining us today in Metro Health's studio.
To learn more, call Metro Health at 216-778-7800 or log on to www.metrohealth.org. Next, how's the health of your wealth? But first, this Tuesday, June 14th, we'll celebrate Flag Day. And in addition to flag flyers across the nation, our country's pennant is permanently positioned on our planet's moon. But just how many flags fly there? We'll raise the answer when we return.
Hilltop Village Apartments is retirement living at its best. Residents enjoy a wide variety of activities and living services with all large first-floor apartments, private screened-in patios with beautiful park views, daily dining room meals, free laundry facilities, 24-hour staff, and so much more. Enjoy safe, comfortable independence at a very affordable price. Call today for a tour and learn how you can get your first month's rent free. Hilltop Village Apartments, retirement living at its best.
A total of 6 United States flags have landed on the moon, honoring the efforts of innumerable Americans reaching for the stars.
Are your investments healthy enough to handle a dramatic downturn? It's time to put your portfolio through its paces. Jim Lineweaver is here with a financial stress test that will determine if your strategies can take a licking and keep on ticking. Jim is a certified financial planner professional with the Lineweaver Financial Group. Welcome back to the show.
Well, congratulations on the 800th episode.
Thanks. We're real happy about that.
You look great for all those episodes. By the way.
Thank you so much. Well, we're talking about investments, though. So
yes.
Most investors have this goal of maximizing returns. That's like this single-minded thing. Is that really a problem?
Exactly. Well, it can be, because a lot of times if you get that tunnel vision and you want to just go for the return, for the high end, you got to assume also in the bad times you're going to look at a big downturn. So it's all about a balance between risk and return and making sure that you're lining the portfolio up for your expectations, because if you can't handle a big loss on your portfolio, you may want to restructure that and not just be shooting for the returns, but some downside protection as well.
Okay, well, it seems pretty steady right now. Do we really have to be panicking about the portfolios at this moment?
Well, you should never panic. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is or what time of the market cycle it is. But what happens is we have been relatively sideways for the last couple of years. So maybe some dividend producing things have helped buffer portfolios and things along the way. But it's just been within the last 10 years that we have to remember that back between October of 2007 and March of 2009, the S&P 500 and the equity stocks fell 57%. So that's not that long ago. So what you want to make sure you do is, as you're measuring these barometers of risk and things, that you're not taking on too much risk for your portfolio, especially if you're into retirement.
Okay, so people have to test their reactions, but we're not the only ones who have to do that, correct?
We're not. After the fallout of 07, 09, also way back in 2001 and 2, what ends up happening is the Federal Reserve put in certain testing measurements for a lot of their financial institutions. So what they're going to look at is deep recession, and they're going to run through scenarios of a very sharp rise in unemployment, 50% drop in equity prices, taking houses all the way back in pricing to 2001, and how would that institution survive? So it's a good thing that they're trying to do this proactively as opposed to reactively, but not only does the Federal Reserve doing this, but everybody else should be doing this on their own portfolios as well.
So how do we do it on a personal level?
Yeah, well, there's a couple good guidelines that you want to look at. When you look at your portfolio and things, it's going to be hard at an individual level, but you know, if you're going to see a professional out there, they can have some software packages and different things to look at. But we actually have a stress test, if you will, and we can put any portfolio through it. So if your viewers have a portfolio and they like it, there won't be any charge for us to run it through this. But what it would literally do is it would actually help us measure in an up market, how far would you be going up relative to the index, but also if the market is going down, how far would you fall down? And you really want a risk to reward relationship where your highs are higher than the lows. So in other words, maybe it's 2 to 1, maybe it's 1 to 1/2, but you're going up faster than you'd actually be going down, and that'd be a good measure of a portfolio.
All right, sounds complicated. Need to see some help there. When it comes to the inevitable yet unforeseeable changes in the market, it's better to act now rather than react later. Follow Jim's advice and put your own portfolio through its stress test today. Need help? Give Jim a call. His number's next.
For more information, call the Lineweaver Financial Group at 1-888-313-4009 or click to www.lineweaver.net. Next, how your health benefits from insurance. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. Saturday, June 18th, the Clifton Arts and Music Fest is taking it to the streets, specifically Clifton Avenue. This free street festival features live music and a juried art show, so you can enjoy tunes and artistic talent all day long. To paint a more complete picture, call 216-228-4383 or take note of this website, www.cudell.com.
In the 1920s, women outlived men by a year. Today, men die 5 years before women. What's going on? Dr. Robert Reznicki is here with help on men's health. Dr. Reznicki is the Chief Medical Officer for Medical Mutual of Ohio. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
So we both know men and women are, both are living longer, but how do men go about kind of closing up this 5-year gap?
Back in the early 1900s, there was a difference between then and now of about 30 years for men. So men are living longer. Women, though, like you just said, it's about 35 years. As we look at the factors for that, one might be childbirth and better things in that regard that women live longer. But on the other hand, it comes down to preventive strategies and health maintenance. What I mean by that, Lori, is that women are better at getting their office visits on a regular basis, checking for problems before they arise.
So it's true men never actually call the doctor?
They only call the doctor when they're really in trouble, where a woman will go ahead and they'll get in there for those regular checkups, and they're much more accustomed to that. And it's an important time for us to talk about that sort of thing because it is Men's Health Month and Men's Health Week. So men need to get going on this.
All right. So with that in mind, some preventative measures and things. So let's talk about some of the conditions that affect men and ways to reduce the risks, starting with prostate cancer.
With prostate cancer, and keep in mind that other than skin cancer, prostate cancer is the leading cause of cancer in men. Men die more from lung cancer than prostate cancer, but more men get prostate cancer. Okay. So this is very important. It sometimes can be very tricky or difficult to diagnose, but a physical exam on a regular basis can often help the provider know what's going on, and in certain situations they may do a screening blood test as well. But to get all that done, you have to see the healthcare provider. And so you get in, you see that person, and you move on it.
Okay. Next is testicular cancer.
If I were doing a logo for this, and if I were in charge of advertising, what I would tell men is check yourself. Now, this isn't necessarily for the seniors. This is a disease that tends to affect men between the age of 15 and 40. So, for the men in our audience, if it applies to you, great. If you're a grandfather or a father, pass that along. But it's very important. Women have gotten used to doing self-exams for decades. That's just what they do. Men need to do that when they're in the shower at an appropriate time to check and see if they feel a lump.
Okay. How about heart disease? #1 killer, right?
Now you're getting to it, because this is what kills more men than anything. Perhaps as a percentage, a little bit less of a killer for men than it was some time ago, but nonetheless, it's still at the top. And when we look at it, there are certain things that seem very simple but can be very difficult to do. Exercise, stop smoking, watch that diet. These are things that women seem to have gotten better at doing than men. And it's very important that men pay attention to lower that blood pressure, lower that weight, because these are cardinal risks for heart disease and heart attacks.
And one last one quickly, stress.
Stress. And a little stress isn't a bad thing, right? Nothing personal, but you get a little stress being on your show, and that's a good thing. It helps you perform. On the other hand, like we said about check yourself, you need to know thyself. And in that case, what I mean is that if you are under a lot of stress, you need to do something about it. Science has shown that there are a lot of bad chemicals that are released when we have a lot of stress, and relaxation techniques. And women are even better about this. Yoga, Tai Chi, breathing exercises, muscular contractions that are then go through a relaxation phase. All of that is very important for men to work on to lower that blood pressure, lower those bad chemicals, and release some of the favorable chemicals like endorphins.
Excellent. Great tips. While it's important for all of us to monitor and manage our health, men, this month is about you. Follow Dr. Reznicki's advice to reduce your risk so you'll live longer, happier lives. My thanks to Dr. Reznicki for joining us today.
Thank you.
Find out more about Medical Mutual of Ohio by visiting www.medmutual.com/go or call 1-844-606-5387. Next up, Armond. It's time to get up and go, an exercise segment on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're here to show you how to work the lower abdominals and even the hip flexors. This is an excellent exercise. It's going to help strengthen that core everybody's talking about. You ready?
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, we're going to start lying flat on the ground. Here in the studio, we have our exercise mats out. You at home, go ahead, grab a spot on the floor and try this one out. We're going to lay flat. Make sure you keep your head back. We want our hands to the side just for a little support. And all we're going to do is we're going to keep our right leg nice and stiff, and we're going to bring it up to about a 90-degree angle, okay? We're going to drop it back down right before it touches. Try to bring it straight back up. All right, we're going to shoot for 12 to 15 repetitions, and then we can go ahead and switch sides. Excellent. How you feeling, Lori?
Oh, feel the burn.
There
stretch.
you go.
Yes.
You're on your way to a stronger core. All right, slow and controlled movements, everybody. Remember to breathe. And now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 6105 Parkland Boulevard, Suite 140, Mayfield Heights, Ohio, 44124.
Our next guest has been on the show too many times to count, but before he sat here, kind of where I'm sitting today. Today he's here as our guest. Armond Budish, former host of Golden Opportunities and my former law partner, gave all that up when he was elected Cuyahoga County Executive. And we're thrilled he's back today to help us celebrate our 800th show and to tell us what he's been up to. So welcome.
You're sitting in my seat.
Oh, no, not anymore.
It's great to be back. It's great to be able to talk to everybody again. That's probably the thing I miss the most about being the county executive. I can't do the show anymore. It's great, but you guys are still going, still doing 800 shows now.
Yeah, and we want 800 more, right?
At least. So I think I did about 795 of those as the host, and I've let Lori do 5, but it's great to be back. This is such an important show because, we provide such good information to people. Absolutely.
So what have you been up to in your not-so-new job?
And by the way, I understand people have been telling me that you're the second best host the show's ever had.
Oh, I'm proud of that.
What have I been up to?
I've heard something a little different, though.
Oh, yeah. So as county executive, executive. I started in January of last year. Walked into office, found that we had about a $68 million deficit, which was a little bit of a difficulty, but we filled the deficit, we balanced the budget, and we also wanted to move forward. You know, I ran for this office not to just be a caretaker, but to really try to transform the county and make life better for our residents. So we have started a huge expansion of universal high-quality pre-kindergarten, which is a really important development for the county. It's that giving our kids the right start in life. We are tackling workforce. We're changing the way the workforce system works because right now there's a terrible disconnect between people who want to work and people who are looking for workers. There's a lot of open jobs that aren't being filled because they can't find jobs, can't find workers with the right skills. Infant mortality is a priority for us. We have focused on fixing that. We have one of the worst infant mortality rates. Kids don't live to see their first birthday way too frequently in Cuyahoga County. We have the best health care in the world here in the county, and yet one of the worst infant mortality rates. So we're working on a lot of things. We're really focused on job creation. That's a big one for us.
Okay. Now, you've always been a pioneer working for senior citizens. Are you still working on those senior issues?
Absolutely. You know, as you well know, senior citizens issues, helping people cope with the challenges of aging, helping their families cope with those challenges has been my passion. That's one of the reasons I ran for county executive, because I thought I could do more in that capacity than I was even doing before. So just to give you one example, in the county we support senior centers, which are so important to communities and people living in those communities. That we support more than 20 senior centers around the county. We actually saved 4 of them last year from closing their doors because of financial problems. And healthy senior centers are important because it helps people age in the community rather than have to go to facilities.
All right. How about Medicaid?
Medicaid, as you know, it's been something I've done. It's not easy. I think so we administer the Medicaid program for the county. We administer the applications that people do when they have to go to a long-term care facility, a nursing home. And having the experience that I've had with Medicaid, you know, understanding it, having been to more nursing homes to visit than probably any other public official ever, is a help, because I understand the issues, I understand the problems, and I think I can deliver better services as a county that way.
All right, great. When he was host of the show, and he'd like to be again, I can tell, Armond worked hard to help make the lives of seniors and their families better. While we continue that work, Armond is now focusing on improving opportunities for everyone who lives in Cuyahoga County. And Armond, don't feel you have to wait for a special anniversary. You're welcome back anytime.
Can I sit in that seat?
No.
All right.
To learn more about the Cuyahoga County Office of the Executive, call 216-443-7178 or log on to www.executive.cuyahogacounty.us. Next, special planning for special needs.
Here at Metro Health, you know you matter when it matters most. Here, we are the city's best at preparing for the world's worst. Here, we are the only verified burn center in Ohio for adults and children. Here, you'll find exceptional clinicians with extraordinary hearts. So the work we do here at Metro Health makes an impact here, out here, and right here. Metro Health, we're here for you, for all of you.
You're taking care of your disabled child, and hopefully you're doing okay. But what will happen when you're gone? If you plan ahead, you should be able to make sure your child is protected. You might think leaving your child an inheritance would be enough, but there are 2 big problems with leaving money or property to an adult child with disabilities. First, can the child manage the inheritance? If the disability is mental or emotional, that could be a major problem. If the disability is physical, managing money could still be a problem, particularly if the child is not mobile. Second, is the inheritance enough to provide for all of the child's needs for life? If not, leaving money outright to a disabled child may be a bad idea. Here's why. If your disabled child has money, he or she cannot obtain any public benefits, such as Medicaid, SSI, or food stamps. The child will have to spend the inheritance until it's gone. Once used up, then the child may receive those public benefits. But they don't cover a lot of comforts of life. They're very basic. For example, they may pay for a nursing home, but not for other housing options. They may pay for basic food needs, but not for transportation, telephone, or cable. Thankfully, there are ways to protect a disabled child. For many people, the answer is a special needs trust. With this trust, you can leave an inheritance for a child and place someone you trust in charge of managing the money, perhaps one of your children, a trusted family member, or a friend. If there's no one, you could name a corporate trustee, such as a bank. And there are other benefits to a special needs trust. It can be used to preserve a child's eligibility for public benefits. So even though you've left an inheritance, the child can still get Medicaid, SSI, food stamps. And the trust funds can be used to supplement the public benefits, providing more of the comforts of life. It's a wonderful way to protect a disabled child. Now, maybe you already have a regular living trust and think that's the same thing, but it's just not. A regular trust will not protect a disabled child adequately. A special needs trust is a very specialized trust that has to satisfy a number of legal requirements for it to work. In fact, a special needs trust is only part of the planning that may need to be done in order to protect a child with a disability. To get help, you should seek the services of a lawyer experienced in dealing with the needs of people with special needs. For more information, please be sure to attend one of our seminars coming up this week. June 13th at 7 at the Holiday Inn Independence, June 14th at 1 at the Beechwood Doubletree, and June 15th at 3 at the Westlake Rec Center. Or, for more help, give us a call. The number's next.
Call Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.ssnplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, organizing can feel overwhelming, especially when it involves items from a partner who has passed. We'll offer advice on how to cope while you clean. Then, Dad is determined to save his smile. We'll get him to grin again. Plus, your community cares. We'll shine a spotlight on services for seniors. But until then, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
If you'd like to join our kitchen conversation, visit our website, www.goldenopportunities.tv. Like us on Facebook. Call us at 440-742-GO-TV or email us at kitchen@goldenopportunities.tv. We'd love to hear from you.
Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.